What is up, and welcome back to another episode of So There's That. I am your hostess doing the mostest, Quyen, and we are back with Emperor of Ocean Park Season 1 Episode 7. Insane. So before we get into all of that, of course I got to do my obligatory shameless plugs. Before we begin, like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Make sure that you hit all on the notification bell so that you know if I'm posting videos, regular posts, or YouTube shorts. You can also leave a comment in the comment box below. Follow me on Instagram at So There's That Podcast, and you can also follow me and the rest of my crazy thoughts on Twitter at Quyen. What else? Let's see. So much has happened since the last episode, and the last episode was yesterday. That's crazy. So I went to my first Comic-Con ever. It was so fun. I dressed up as Sailor Mars, and I got to just meet so many of my faves, even the voice actress who voiced Sailor Mars. I got so many autographs. I met Uncle Ruckus, Michael Myers, Ernie Hudson, who's in the original Ghostbusters. He's in the original Crow. So many people wanted to take pictures of me with me because they liked Sailor Mars and stuff like that. Took a lot of pictures. So it was a really good time. Very stimulating. Lots of walking. My boots were comfortable. And then a really good friend of mine, she's like an older sister, had a birthday dinner like immediately after. So a bunch of people that I love. We all just went out and just had like a little intimate celebration with one another. And yeah, had to do that and then catch back up and catch up on these episodes so that I can bring you today's episode. So it's been a busy time between like Monday of last week and today. It's been crazy, but particularly Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which is like back-to-back celebration of me and where I'm going in the next chapter professionally. Comic-Con, birthdays, all this other stuff. I'm tired. So if my energy feels low, if my voice is a little bit deep, because we was playing heads up in a hookah lounge, screaming over the music to each other. So yeah. But yeah, that's the latest thing. And I think we can just jump right into the episode because this is a long episode and so many questions are answered in this episode. But you want to know what's not going to be answered? Anything prior to, because I'm not talking about episodes 1 through 6. Baby, I'm gonna, you know when you walk into your living room and like your mama or your siblings or somebody is watching something on TV and you be like, oh, what's that you watching? And they be like, oh, The Walking Dead. And then as you're sitting down, you see somebody's like throat get slit in like some super dramatic way, and so you just sit and keep watching, and because of what you watched, you now have to go back to the beginning. Yeah, so that's gonna be this episode. So we're not doing a recap of 1 through 6 because it's like you have to sit in that build up. This is like the pinnacle, and because there are 10 episodes in the season, this episode makes a lot of sense. So there are some things that happen in this episode that I'm absolutely not gonna say. Yes, I wrote them in my notes, but I need to make sure I don't say them because I need y'all to go and subscribe to MGM Plus so that you can watch this show. Getting into the show itself, at 4 minutes and some change on this little introduction or whatever. All right, the name of the show, Emperor of Ocean Park. I have been calling it Emperors of Ocean Park because I'm black and I put an S on everything. It's 57 minutes. It's a crime, drama, and mystery. So it has a primary with 2 subgenres. The director of this episode is Tran. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. Let me see. Let me go on. Like I said, I'm always forgetting something. Let me go on YouTube. Tran. Tran. Name pronunciation. Okay. Commercials. I need to get YouTube Premium. Is this them telling me that I need to? Quyen Tran. Sorry. So Quyen Tran is the director, and she's directed shows like Osaka, which is on Osaka. That's a Japanese restaurant. Ahsoka. I was in there on Disney Plus, which came out in 2023. Maid, which came out in 2021, and Palm Springs in 2020. The writers that are credited from IMDb are Sherman Payne. So he's doing the, this is based on a novel. So he's doing like the televised adaptation and the development for it as like the main writer for that, along with Jabari McDonald. I can't talk. It's based on the novel by Stephen L. Carter, and I might actually read the book. When the season is over, I'm gonna read the book. And J.D. Shields is credited as the story's editor. The composer for this episode is Amanda Delores Patricia Jones. She also goes by Amanda Jones, and she's composed on How to Train Your Dragon 2, Naomi, which is a great TV show about this black girl, a superhero, like she gets powers and stuff. So that's how I found out who this composer was from that show. The music is great. She composed on A Black Lady sketch show, and she also composed most recently outside of the show on Mea Culpa. The cinematographer is Laura Merians Gonçalves. She's the cinematographer on Dead Ringer. She also did the music videos for Beyoncé for Spirit and Bigger, and I believe that was on the Black is King project, as well as Annabelle Creation. Now, let's park here, because Annabelle Creation was the scariest movie that came out in the year that it came out. Like, I'm talking insane camera work. So, shout out to you, girl. Shout out to you. Our cast, okay, let's go down the list. This stars Forrest Whitaker. He is Judge Oliver Garland, and he also just goes by Judge, so even his kids call him Judge. You may know him from The Godfather of Harlem, Black Panther, and The Butler, just to name a few. We have Grantham Coleman, who plays Talcott Garland. He is known from Black Bear, Power Book 3, and Rustin. Rustin is a great movie, by the way. We have Tiffany Mack, who plays Mariah Garland. Her married last name is Denton, but I'm just going to refer to her as Mariah Garland for the sake of the review. And she's been on SEAL Team, Happen Leonard, and Jessica Jones. Then we have Henry Simmons, who is Addison Garland, and he's known on Cherish the Day, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and he was that husband on No Good Deed who was out cheating on Taraji's character when Idris Elba's character came in, just for us to find out that he was cheating on Taraji with Idris Elba's wife. She out here about to get killed and you over there with the girl. Come on. When I saw his face in this, it took a minute. I had to check myself emotionally because I'm not over that. Not over it. Then we have Paulina Lule or Lule. And they play, I saw on IMDb that the pronoun was they. They play Kimmer Madison-Garland, who's married to Talcott Garland. And they're best known for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., The Good Place, and The Plague. And The Plague is listed as coming out in 2024. I've not heard of this, so I need to go look this up because I think it's a scary movie and I love scary movies. Then we also have like a special guest appearance by Avery Holiday, who plays Abigail Garland, the youngest of the Garland family. And she's known for We Grown Now and Night Sky. So There are your people, there are your references. As always, it's going to be listed in the show notes as well as the description box. So the storyline follows Talcott Garland, who is the third child, I believe. So it goes Addison, Mariah, Talcott, Abigail. So it follows Talcott, whose tranquil life existence is upended by the death of his father, Judge Oliver Garland. Mariah, a former journalist and ardent conspiracy theorist, questions the manner of his death and thinks that he is the victim of foul play, aka murder. I need to say that, like, what, murder. I don't know. I need a nap. So where do we begin? So I'm not going to give you a full recap from episodes 1 through 6, but I'll at least tell you where we are, because before each episode you do get a previously on the last one. So I like a good recap before going into the next episode. It always just like resets your mind, and depending on what they recap, it tells you what they're going to explore in that current episode. So I love a good foreshadowing. So we open it up. Judge Garland has passed. So every episode basically kind of, it's like a How to Get Away with Murder season 1, where we kept opening it up with Annalise Keating's husband just laying on the ground, and then it goes somewhere else, and he's laying on the ground and something else in different POVs. So it's always like he's not alive anymore. And Mariah and Talcott's like search for the truth has been destroying their family. So Talcott's wife has moved out with his son, and Mariah's husband basically was like trying to put his foot down and was just like, you need to spend more time at home. There was this scrapbook that Addison wanted one of their cousins to destroy, but she ended up not destroying it, and Talcott ended up getting his hands on it. So a lot of things are kind of like centering around why did he have this scrapbook and what was the purpose of it. This girl named Maxine, who met Talcott at a skating rink, ended up getting into this car chase, and at the end of the car chase, when there was almost like a major pileup, she gets out the car and runs after him, and that's when him and Mariah see that it was this lady that they met at the skating rink who was following him. And like I said, there's multiple threats to Mariah and Talcott as they're closer and closer to figuring out, like, what does this scrapbook mean, and does the scrapbook have anything to do with his death? So they're just trying to connect the dots on like what's going on. Where are we now? So as we go in this, it's gonna be like a recap for the most part. With that, I'm gonna be setting the tone with if we're in present day or if we're in a flashback. This episode was very flashback heavy. Again, it's episode 7. We're answering a lot of questions, and so we're at like the crux of the plot and the story for this episode. So we open up with a flashback, and we see Abby and the judge in the car, and he's just picking her up because I guess she was gone for she was in her junior year heading into her senior year, and she stayed at one of the campuses that she's looking at attending. Then we jump into present day. Talcott is going through the scrapbook, and he's just looking at all the different articles, and he's seeing this word like Excelsior, Excelsior, Excelsior. And he pulls the letter that his father left him before he passed, and it's about Excelsior. So he's like typing in, you know, who was this girl? There was like the article of his sister's hit and run, and then there was this other girl named Bethany, and then there was this other boy named Jovan. So he's looking it up, and he's trying to figure out like, okay, what's the connection? They've all died similarly, but like, what does that mean? Like, what is he trying to tell me? So he looks up the more high profile one, which was the congressman, his daughter, and he calls his Uncle Jax and was like, can you get me the address of this man? Like, I need to ask him some questions. We move on to Mariah. She brings her husband coffee in bed, and she's apologizing to him, you know. It never fails. It never fails. She's apologizing to him because she's like, you know what? They threatened us. They threatened our kids, and they killed my dad. Like, I might need to pull back a little bit. I need to see this through your lens. You know, I should be present more at home. I should be present more with the kids. Y'all, she got 5 kids. And she kept saying like she just had a baby, just had a baby. So I'm thinking like, you got like 2 kids, because at least from what I remember, I had only ever seen one. And he bad as hell. But then when she was in the kitchen trying to make them breakfast, 4 like big kids came and sat down. Like they have to at least be 2 sets of twins. Something. They just look very back to back to back to back. So that was shocking. Honestly, if I was her, I would be working all day too. My husband can stay at home with these kids. I done already did the work. I done already pushed them out. What more do you want? We have a nanny. They got you. Baby, I did it all. I'm going to work. Okay? I'm just saying. Back in a flashback, Abigail is getting ready to go out with her friends, but the judge is being really pouty about it because he missed his daughter. She's his baby, and you can kind of sense a little bit of empty nest syndrome. I'm trying to think if their mom had passed already. And because I didn't see the mom in any of these flashbacks, I'm going to assume that no, I don't think the mom. Where was the mama? I need to investigate this, y'all. I didn't look into this a lot. Unless we're only looking at the memories through the memories of Judge's eyes. You know how sometimes when you remember something, memory is what did they say in the Interview with a Vampire? I can't remember, but memory, especially through grief, you'll often get rid of the background and the people that you're not hyper focused on, and you'll solely focus on the memory and what you have with that one person, even though there may have been 10 other people in the room. The way that you envision it and the way that you memorize it, those people don't exist. So that's kind of how the flashbacks with her go. It's like, where is everybody else? I could see maybe the siblings being off, you know, a few of them are grown. But Talcott seemed like he would go home a lot. It was just interesting in that regard. Back into the today of things, Talcott went and visited with Congressman Derry. His daughter Bethany is another girl who got killed in a hit and run. So in the scrapbooks, there are 3 people who passed in the hit and run. So he's just trying to figure out, like, you know, does Excelsior mean anything and stuff like that. And he was like, no, but your dad did come to the funeral, and he gave like some beautiful remarks and things like that, but you know, like, we weren't close or anything. He just showed up. I knew who he was because of the political scene, but I just assumed that he felt some type of connection or some type of like kinship because our children passed the same way. So Talcott's like confused, you know, just trying to piece together like what is going on and why would he show up if y'all are not friends. Meanwhile, Mariah is taking her badass son Malcolm all the way up the steps because, like I already said, they got threatened before. And he was all like, you ain't gotta come over here and do all of this, dang, like just very a disrespectful child. Him, yes, absolutely. Could her absence and how busy she is with investigative journalism be a barrier? Sure, but I mean, the father seems to be more at home too, and it's like, what are you allowing the kids to say about her when she's not around? And what do you say to the nanny when she's not around? Because even if you don't say anything, allowing your kids to participate in this type of language or the way that they speak about her is now also showing in how they treat her when she is around, and that, my dear father, is on you. So she in the hallway, she was like, boy, bye, get on. And the head of the PTA is like, Mariah, oh my God, I'm so happy to see you here. Like, we could really use the extra help for the gala. So tell me, are you gonna be able to help out this year? And Mariah's like, you know what, girl? Yes. So she's super happy about it and everything like that. So she finally agrees. So she's trying to be more present, not only at home, but even in like the school activities and stuff, like the other moms, even though she hasn't been and probably doesn't want to, but she's trying. She's trying. I'll give her a B minus. I'll give her a B minus. Back in 2003, so that's where the flashbacks are. Talcott, Jesus Christ, my brain. Judge and Abby go get ice cream and they're just bonding and everything. And, you know, she's getting ice cream with him before she heads out to meet her friends, meet her friend at an arcade. And so they're sitting on the bench and they're just hanging out. And he sees, I think, the admissions director or like the coordinator across the street, calls him over. And, you know, he does the embarrassing dad thing. Abby, tell him about yourself, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, she lists off her resume. She lists off her personality and things and why she would be great for Princeton. And the guy is like, you know, I'm impressed. I look forward to reading your application. You all have a good day. So he walks off and Abby leaves to go meet her friend and Judge heads to go home. In the today of things, Talcott calls Jovan's mom, and again, he asking the same thing, like, were you close with my dad? Like, is there a reason that he came to the funeral? Does Excelsior mean anything to you? And she was like, well, I've never really heard of it being said, but he did say it when he gave a speech at the funeral. He was so kind. He was so nice. He was this, that, and the third. Same thing. I just assumed because our children died in a similar manner that he was just there expressing his grief and trying to process it in a way that maybe he felt could benefit him the most by being around people who are experiencing a similar type of grief. Back in 2003, we're at the arcade. That was a really strong B. Sorry. Back in 2003, Abby and her friend are at the arcade and talking about boys in school. And I guess there was this one boy that she was hooking up with and she was supposed to meet him there. But he ended up going back to New York with his family because his grandmother passed. But he didn't say nothing to Abby. He had left the day prior. So it was all like, oh yeah, I can't wait to see you. Can't wait to meet up with you now that you're back from college tours. And he didn't even like give her the decency of even letting her know that he left. So she called him and left a voicemail. Was like, you could have said something like, you know, I'm sorry for your loss, but like you just said nothing. And so her friend was like, girl, you know, miss one, next 15 one. Come and look at that fine specimen over there, girl. Shoot your shot. So Abby sees him and she liking what she's seeing. And so she walks up over there and he's playing like the basketball section. So she pulls up next to him and starts shooting. And she ended up beating him in the basketball anyway. But they're just flirting and making small talk. And we find out that his name is Marcus. And he's so handsome. And they do like teens in early 20-somethings when you're just out here dating and not taking nothing serious. Bye, Anthony. Hello, Marcus. And they just kicking it. And they just enjoying the night. So Talcott is on his way home after being out chasing ghosts, chasing pavements, as Adele would say. And he gets up in his house and he turns around and sees two white men sitting there. And that's when I found out that the one that's like coughing, he might have lung cancer or something, I don't know, he be hacking like crazy, is his uncle. And we find out that the uncle is the reason that he's even getting some of the protections that he is getting, because like I said, he's been getting followed, he done got jumped, it's so many other things. Watch episodes 1 through 6. But Uncle Jax is like, you need to get the arrangements, like I'm gonna protect you until you get what I need. But he never says the but part. But something that happened in a previous episode, I think that Talcott is just very naive. It's like, yeah, he wants you to get these arrangements. He's not telling you what the arrangements is. So you don't even know what you're supposed to be getting for him. But then when you get it to him, then what? Does he not protect you anymore? What's the second, third, fourth order effects of the information that you're trying to get, hide, or like keep from getting exposed? What if you get it and it's something that needs to be exposed? It just seems very conditional. And I think that Talcott needs to keep his ears to the pavement. He needs to listen to what's being said and he needs to listen to what's not being said as it pertains to Uncle Jax. So they say all they need to say. And he was like, look, all right, I'm working on it or whatever. And they leave. We're back. And while Abby was out, Judge had a friend over and he's talking about, you know, you might have a chance at sitting on the Supreme Court justice. Like, we could use somebody like you. And Judge is like, you know, I'm thinking about doing something more noble, just something more effective for the people. Really wants to get into criminal justice reform, and he mentions that he thinks it's something that Abby would also be proud that he would pursue. And the other guy's like, look, you got to think big. But you can just tell that Judge is like getting to a space where he knows how the grind affected the other children, and he's trying to do something different with the last egg that's in the nest. So I thought that was really noble, and it was really sweet to see Forrest Whitaker in this moment, and to bring forth the vulnerability and the softness in Judge, where in the previous episodes we've only seen him be harsh, especially to his sons. In the today of things, after Uncle Jack's left, Talcott is on the road again. Like, oh, I was like, what does he do? I forgot he's on admin leave from his job. I was like, why are you always out? And he's talking to Mariah, and she brings up the Excelsior. He brings up the Excelsior things, and she was like, so Dad's letter to you has something to do with the scrapbook? And then she goes, you know what? Nope. I said I wasn't gonna do this. My family got threatened. You was being a dick the last time we talked about this anyway. Like, nah. And Talcott's like, look, girl, listen to me. We can squash all of that at a later time, but there is something here, and there's a connection here. And Dad went to the funerals. Like, why would he go, and what does that have to do with Abby? So Tal, we find out, was on his way to Addison because Addison would answer his phone, and he banging on the door, and he was like, what's up with you? And Addie was like, I don't know if it wasn't clear by my not answering your phone or your voicemails or texting you back, but I'm not about to get in this with you and Mariah on this conspiracy theory and get dragged down in this mess with the judge. Like, I'm not doing it. And Tal tells him, our cousin didn't destroy the scrapbook. And he's like, okay, and who cares? Cool, you got it, you figured it out. And Tal is like, no, I didn't figure it out. You literally have the other pieces to the puzzle. You know something and you're not telling us. So what is up? And Addie like, look, I'm not telling you nothing. I'm trying to keep you safe. And Tal is like, how the hell are you keeping me safe? I'm over here getting jumped. People are following me. I don't know what to do. And so Addie's just like, boy, get out of here. And so they end up getting into like a little brother fight. And literally by brother fight, I mean baby bro hits big bro, and big bro has to like punch him in the side to neutralize him. He don't really want to hit him, but he needs to stop him because this is dumb. We're too old. We're too grown. Probably cameras in these hallway. Like, boy, go home. So Tal was like, if I die or if something seriously happens to me, that's on you. That's on you, because you know what's up. You know what's at stake. Our dad is dead, and you are literally sitting over here thinking that now is the time to withhold information. Absolutely not, sir. But whatever, bet. And he leaves. Back in 20. My God, am I gonna make it? Never would have made it. Whew. Jesus, take the wheel. So the judge he has his camcorder. He's filming like the steak that he cooked and the asparagus and all sliced. And everybody always talks about like, oh, the kids these days are so camera obsessive with this, that, and the third. But literally, once cameras and handheld cameras came out, parents was recording everything. So I thought it was really cute that he has his camcorder that Abby was using to like document at school and document when she came back. So he's putting his little meal on there and stuff for her, and they come down and they share a meal, and it's just this cute sweet moment. And then she's like, Daddy, this asparagus is so good, how did you season it? And he's like, salt and pepper. You don't even like asparagus, girl, so what do you want? And so she was telling him like, well, you know, there's this party later that I want to go to. And he was like, absolutely not. Like, if you wanted to just, he was like, if you wanted to come back to just hang out with your friends, you should have just said that. Like, don't sit up here and pretend or placate me and try to butter me up just so you can get something. Like, no, you're not going out. You over here under false pretenses. And he was a little bit irrational about it, because you could tell that she was a responsible girl. He's just in his feelings. Like, it's my baby. It's my baby. No, I want to spend time with you. Like, yeah, there's another school year, but you're growing up. He's like faced with the reality that she's growing up and she's not this little girl anymore. So he's kind of in his feelings about it. And so she just goes to her room. So Tal is in his house and he's waking up and he hears his car revving and he sees that it's one of the cars that's been following him. So he grabs a hammer and runs outside, but the car ended up speeding off. So he's just a little bit worried, a little bit concerned. Again, he just told Addie last night, like, things have been happening to him. And so at this point, he's kind of freaking out a little bit. But then who can you tell? Your dad's a judge and somebody killed him. You don't really have nowhere to go. So then we roll over to Mariah and she gets a Google alert on her fake cousin. I can't remember in my mind if they were really cousins or if she used it to just get better access to him. But anyway, his name is Sharik. And she got a Google alert that says that man pled guilty to manslaughter. So she's trying to hurry up and call and get access to him, like at the jail or whatever. And she promised whoever answered the phone that she would pay her 3 months salary or 3 months paycheck to get a message to him so that he could call her back. Going back in time, we're back with Abby and she's sneaking out of the house to go to the party like a teenager do. I mean, did we not expect this? She makes sure her dad's asleep and he's asleep, passed out in the living room, and she leaves in house to meet her friends at the house party. Tal is on FaceTime with his son and his son is in pajamas and going over Legos and everything like that. And you know, he misses his son and his son misses him too. And so he gets off the phone and then he texts his wife, I guess. There's nothing really about like a divorce. She just moved out for a little bit while all this stuff is going on, because there still is, even though she's been cheating on him for God knows how long, his recent behaviors have brought about some things that could put his child in danger. So I definitely get it, but she definitely used all of this as an excuse to just physically leave anyway. And now that you're physically out of the house, you don't have to be under the scrutiny of your husband trying to figure out where you are at all times because you've been cheating on him. So yeah, she's definitely using this situation to her advantage in a way. And so while he gets off the phone and he texts her like, this is ridiculous, we need to talk about this, somebody rings his doorbell. And he goes down to the door and he sees that it's Maxine. And she has food and she's like, we could talk about it, but let me in. I'm gonna make us some Thai. And then we're gonna go over everything and I will answer all of the questions that you have to the best of my ability and within the confines of the contract that I have to follow you. So they're sitting there and they're talking and she's chopping up some food and she just tells him like, I basically was hired to make sure that you get these arrangements. And he's like, what the hell is these arrangements? Like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing or looking for. And she says that she doesn't really know what it is, but she thinks that it's information that his dad possessed to use to blackmail certain like individuals in positions of power. So that's all she knows, but she tells him she's not there to spook him. She's there to keep him safe. She's gonna follow him. She has to do those things, but she has to make sure that his safety is put at the forefront while he's on this quest to get whatever information to for his uncle. But based on what she said too, it also seems like maybe the uncle is working for somebody else, because she doesn't mention his uncle by name. She just says, you know, the people who hired me. But it's like, if you know that that's his uncle, why wouldn't you just say who it was? So I just feel like there's another being and another power at play. And at this point of what I'm watching, I think that Jax is not working in the best interest of the family. He's working in the best interest of whoever is hiring him to put the pressure on Tal to get this information. So we're at the party that Abby snuck off to. She's having a good time. She sees Marcus and they got a lot of chemistry and it's just really cute. And you know, we know that she isn't alive. So the way that the camera work is happening and the slow-mos and the dancing and the close-ups and the music, it's really feeling more so like a memory than a flashback at this point. It just kind of got like a little sad, I don't know, for me, but yeah, it's my moon month right now, so everything makes me sad these days. we move along, and Mariah is at this PTA meeting, and she needs to grow up. She is in there like loud, and they're like, Mariah, is there something that you would like to add? I don't know, is there anywhere else that you would like to be? Like, would you like to contribute? Like, my sis is over it. They're sitting in there talking about, okay, what's next on our agenda? Let's get sponsors and this and the third. She was like, fuck your sponsors. Like, what are we talking about? You're a Vanderbilt. Your family owns Boeing. You are married to the Hilton. She's like, what did she say? We're rich. Just cut a fucking check. Like, I'm with her. She's like, this is god awful and this is so boring. We come in here and we're talking about the same thing. Then we're in here trying to figure out how we're going to beg for money when all you got to do, if everybody in this circle just went and just put $2,000 on a check, we will exceed everything that we're asking for in donations and whatever sponsorships that we're trying to do. Hell, just go buy whatever services that you want for whatever sponsor that you want to have. Like, this is dumb. I am an educated woman. Why am I sitting here? And she delivers one of the favorite lines that I think I've ever heard in TV. And she says, hold on, because I wrote it down. After she's done yelling at them, she says, good luck with the gala. I'm sure it'll be mediocre just like your children. Have married a white man and I may have been pretending to be something that I'm not around y'all, but baby, today is the day. It is gone. We are not masking it. I'm not code switching. I am getting up out of here. Y'all are boring. Boo. Tomato to every single one of you faces. Goodbye and good day. And she left. So we're back at the house. Tal he's convinced Maxine to stay through another bottle of wine and conversation, but the energy is getting a little flirty, you know. Everything is looking all nice and it's feeling all good and eyes are getting low, and you know, she's just letting him know, like, I don't want anything to happen to you, but while I'm here and while the wine, you know, embarrassingly has me a little forward, I just want to ask, why did your wife leave? Well, if I was her, I would never let somebody as fine as a specimen as you out of my eyesight. She didn't say that. It was something like that though, because the next thing we know, she's on top. So it was something to that effect. I was not off. And it was a good time. It seemed to be enjoyable. You could tell there was a little bit of apprehension on Tal's part because your wife has been cheating on you for like the duration of your marriage. So there's a little bit of hesitation, but you know, 2 bottles of wine, some confessions, and a good looking woman in front of you later. You know, you figure, hey, I might as well. I don't know what she's doing. She probably still doing it. I need to do me. So we're flashing back. The house party is over and Marcus is asking her if she wants to basically house hop from the one place to the next. And she was like, no, I already snuck out the house. Like, I'm going to go home before my dad wakes up. But let me give you my number and, you know, hit me up because I know you want to. And she leaves and walks out the door along with the rest of the kids. But while they're going to the party, she's going to go home because, you know, she want to make sure that she's not disappointing her dad. Like I said, you can just tell that she is a good child. I think regardless of kids like sneaking out and this and the third, she got a 4.1 GPA. She volunteers at like a women's shelter. She does all the things that she's supposed to do and is genuinely like a good person too. It's not just a check the box type of situation with her. She's just a genuinely kind person. But she's also a teenager. So I respect that she's written in a way that she's not this perfect child, especially when her father wants her to be this perfect child. And if you just look at the other 3 kids, you could just tell that there was a high degree of perfectionism that was demanded in their households. So Maxine is getting dressed, getting ready to leave, when Addie calls Tal, and he was like, hey, I'm up the street from your house, you need to come and meet me. And so he was like, bet. And he looks to Maxine and he was like, you gonna follow me, huh? And she was like, duh. But since I'm gonna follow you anyway, we might as well just get over there together. So let's go, get your keys. And he pulls up and Addie's like, who is that? She cute. And Tal was like, you know, it's Maxine, you know, it's just complicated. Like, she's not my girlfriend, but like, it's just complicated. And so he was like, what's up? And Addie was like, well, we're waiting on one other person. And Mariah comes in. So Mariah clocks Maxine at the bar. And she was like, I know this ain't that bitch that tried to run us off the road. Like, what the hell? And Addie's like, wait, she tried to run you off the road? What the hell is going on? I thought you said that it was complicated, or like that she was cool. And Tal was like, look, it's too much going on. It's late. We could talk about my life later. Addie, why are we here? So Addie tells him about the time where his dad brought him out to dinner and showed him the scrapbook. And he was like, I wasn't really tripping off the scrapbook, but he gave me this folder and it had a report in it. He had a PI look into who killed Abigail. And he said, I wasn't upset in hiding the fact that, because he says, when I pulled out the report, the PI found out who killed Abigail. And so Tal and Mariah are like, who? Like, what? Like, what is up? Like, what is going on? And they were like, is that what had you spooked? And Addie was like, him finding out who did it wasn't the problem. What scared me is the person who did it. He had them killed. And they just sat there looking like me, mouth dropped. So there's that on season 1, episode 7 of Emperor of Ocean Part. Woo! Okay, my brain was in a fog, but honestly, what an episode. What an episode. I don't know when you're gonna watch it from here to know who killed Abigail, but I'm not saying it on here. So you can find it out on Twitter, or you can go watch the show, okay? Because I'm not giving it away. Oh, because I was just like, oh my God. Judge is a diabolical man after my own heart. Oh, I love it. It's definitely something that I would do. Absolutely. Revenge, retribution. What did that lady say on TikTok? I only got but 2 cheeks. There's only so many ways that I can turn them, because I'm done. I am done. And then quick shout out to Omar Benson Miller, who plays a younger Judge Oliver Garland. So Forrest Whitaker plays 2 versions of himself. Like a really old gray-haired version. Not like really old. I'm sorry. An older gray-haired version, and then like later, like 40s version. And then Omar Benson Miller, who's always been said that he looks like Forrest Whitaker anyway, plays like the younger version, like when the kids were like 12 and under, or like 13 and under. Shout out to him. He wasn't in this episode, but he is just a phenomenal actor. Forrest Whitaker changed up his voice and the way that he speaks a little bit for this role, and to have Omar step in and not just imitate that, but to embody. If you just close your eyes, you would never know that it was 2 different people doing these things. The speech pattern, the cadence, the inflections, where the tongue placement is when he says certain words, soft B's, hard D's, soft P's, hard S's, like all of those things matter. The way that you pitter patter over words, in the way that there's like a rhythm in the way that Forrest Whitaker speaks, and to be able to embody that, absolutely phenomenal. He is amazing. Omar, you are amazing. I'm so excited to see you in the show, and I hope we get to get more flashbacks of you in the future. With that being said, my overall review of this episode, mind blown. So many questions were answered, and yet it didn't feel fast or rushed. The cinematography of it all is absolutely insane. One of my favorite angles that happens in this episode in particular is a lot of like the over the shoulder but coming from the top angles, because it really adds like stress to a character. You can definitely do like close-up shots, but I think to really get the viewer to feel what the actor is feeling and the emotions that they're conveying even when they're not speaking is like those below shots from an angle and the above shots from an angle. Because from the below you get like a lot of that panic, a lot of that looking around and your eyes are shifting and you're getting ready to throw up or pass out. And then the one from above feels like you're in an interrogation room and it's like beads of sweat and it's like, oh my God, do they think that I'm lying? Should I tell the truth? It's like the angles make you feel two different things. And so in this, you get to feel a lot of what the characters are feeling, even through the direction and through the camera work. So I really, really love that. The overall impression of this episode, man, I don't want to be biased. I mean, honestly, I review shows that I like. It did everything for me. It did everything for me. I was sleepy. I was fighting a nap, and it just did everything for me. 5 out of 5. No notes. That is going to wrap up today's episode. I hope that you enjoy it. Stream. I don't want to tell y'all what to do with your money, but stream Emperor of Ocean Park on MGM Plus. You can also get it through Prime and subscribe through Prime as well. Like I said before, I think I said before, I don't know, I've been sitting here for like almost an hour. It's so good. The cast is so phenomenal. The chemistry is amazing. The drama is there. The mystery is there. The thriller is there. The crime is there. I don't know who to trust. It's giving unreliable narrator like Interview with a Vampire. I don't know what is going on. I feel like Talcott, honestly, I think Talcott is he has the least amount of information of everybody. And Mariah kind of knows what he knows, but she just tackles things a little bit differently, where Talcott is very naive. So I feel like I'm watching it as him. So as the information comes to me, I'm just as stunned as he is. And that just is great writing, great direction, and great acting. So with that being said, I am going to wrap up. Again, follow me on Twitter if you want to hear the rest of my thoughts about this episode and the show in general, at Quyen. You can follow me on Instagram at So There's That Podcast. And again, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a comment in the comment box below. I just can't get out of here, huh? Leave a comment in the comment box below. Okay, I'm out. I'm going to take a nap.
Phase